wasted too much energy for so little.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
Do you need medical help yourself, nurse?
I'm fine, really. I just need to sleep.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawk. Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Hear disgust on every street corner. daily routine.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The wet boot boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang...
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug it.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton?
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel... empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure...
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the...
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Have you made friends?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived...
You never came to see her here at Pembroke. Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest...
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
Discussed on every street corner. The daily routine.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverley Ackroyd.
Does my arrival inconvenience?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd...
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital, instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps...
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness.
Carelessness?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to...
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing...
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect...
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive...
And what exactly...
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the mob...
Be careful what you insinuate.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
It seems you have bad
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Thank you for your time. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed.
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my...
I see.
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get...
Are you satisfied?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen...
I won't lie to you about it.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues...
In other circumstances, you would be right. Tell me about yourself.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed.
I was more curious about what you would...
I'm a carpenter. And a good one, too.
Tell me about the doctors.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building.
Goodbye for now.
I will not let you down, my boy.
sorry you ended up playing a court medical bench, sir. I understand you must be very angry about this unfair situation. I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
It's locked. It's locked, all right. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir.
A colleague? Are you
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I...
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir.
Why do you have to be?
Because these poor fellows have no names.
Why close the...
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic.
Are you afraid?
Why should I? These bodies...
An interesting point of view.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned...
How did you get the...
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks.
Have we met before?
I don't think so.
When we first talked, you said you were glad to...
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
A pawnbroker? I expect...
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind...
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very
I'm very cautious, sir.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life and I...
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be...
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is...
So you're ready?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the...
You're a wise man, Mr. Ch...
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man.
Goodbye, Mr. Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but...
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your...
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first...
So you believe it's just a question?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion.
What made you choose...
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific...
This epidemic may be the century's most...
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method.
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't.
You're not the first one to warn me. but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the...
What can you tell me about...
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn...
You seem quite optimistic.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test.
Questions remain about our...
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work.
Do you need help with...
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh, no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop...
I see. Well... Tell me more about your willingness to...
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
This personal involvement could also...
I agree. But that does...
Do you think keeping his distance was...
All I know is that I'm taking care of...
Tell me, Mr...
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it...
But why would he hide such crucial...
Because he is a proud father. Ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Goodbye.
I have wasted too much energy.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody...
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the...
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency?
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe...
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of pustulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you...
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and...
I'm assuming you must be a patient here.
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit,
Who are these enemies?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden.
The staff here...
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft?
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
I'll leave you.
Time has lost its effect on me. But the suffering continues.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
I wish I could be sick again. Blood boil with the fever.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to...
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money, and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other.
You do realize you could both get fired?
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know...
Goodbye, Milton. I cannot enter.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
It's locked, all right. It's locked.
Elite! Elite!
here again.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now. If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Come on, I don't have all night.
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
Sorry. There's nothing here.
Some of the patients won't last the night without them. Honestly, sir, I'm beside myself.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse.
Not now. Leech, mine! Watch out!
Balls of Mars. Fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. These scowls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood. Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this. It's locked, all right. It's locked. Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old. Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips. Some sort of... The chest was originally opened to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened. A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Not the cleanest work, but signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then he tried to operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error.